Hi guys. So I wanted to make a quick video on how to do voice recording and how to input that recording into a Google Slides presentation. So it's pretty good for narrating a Google slide or just to record yourself and send the recording to someone. So I'm going to show you guys again. We always begin with our school email. So from our school email, I'm going to go ahead and go to my Google Drive. Within my Google Drive, because once the recordings are done, I want to upload them back to my Google Drive. So I'm going to go ahead and create a folder. And this is just to stay organized. So I'm going to go ahead and create by clicking the plus and then folder. I'm going to go ahead and create a folder where I'm going to store the recordings. I'm just going to call these, let's see, voice recordings. All right, so I'm going to create that folder, and we'll use that folder here in a little bit once we do the recordings. So the recordings, you can do them many ways, but I'm going to show you guys a pretty simple way that you can do the recordings is go into a website, and it's a free online voice recorder. So the website address is online voice recorder.com. All right, so again, it is online voice recorder.com. All right, so once we get to this website, it's pretty simple. All you do is to begin the recording is we're going to click here on the record button. But before we do that, let's go ahead and go back to our Google Drive, and we're going to go ahead and go to our Google slide that we're going to use to narrate on. All right, so once I have my Google slide ready, once I find it within my drive, so I'm going to go ahead and open this Google Slides, and I'm going to go to the slide that I want to narrate. So let's start with this slide right here. So with this slide open, I'm going to go ahead and switch real quick back to the other tab of the online voice recorder website. And when I am ready to begin narrating, I'm going to go ahead and click here. So I'm going to go ahead and begin narrating for this slide that I'm looking at now. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. It'll begin recording. So this slide pertains to the shoes that you're wearing. So if you look at the shoes that you're wearing, shoes are made of many different types of materials. So just by looking at your shoes, what type of materials would you say that your shoes are made of? All right, so now that I'm ready to stop the recording, I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. So obviously I didn't only talk during this session regarding the slide, but you can edit. So let me go ahead and start playing this. So I can go ahead and move this here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to cut this piece right here off. So to do that, all you have to do is move the left hand side to there. And then again, I'm going to go ahead and chop off the end of it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off right there. So I'm going to go ahead and move this one right here and slide it closer to there. So once you're satisfied with that, so I'm going to, all right. So that's the recording that I want for that slide. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. And I'm going to go ahead and click save. So when I click save, it's going to process this recording. And if you see here at the bottom left, it'll drop it and save it to my computer. So if you didn't like the recording and you wanted to begin over, you could click on the X right here. It'll ask you if you are done. So I'm going to say yes. And basically, it'll go back to the beginning and you'll be able to begin the recording again. So we saved that one. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it. So it already saved it to my computer. But before I go back to that one, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide that I also want to narrate. So we'll leave it at this one. So I'm going to go back to my online voice recorder and I'm going to do another recording for that second slide. So again, I'm going to click on the record. All right, so whenever you're done owning a pair of clothing, where do you think, and you throw it away, where do you think it goes? Does it go to a landfill where many pieces of trash go, or where do you think your clothing goes after you are done using them and throw it away? All right, so again, I did that recording for that slide, and I'm going to go ahead and crop or trim the ends just so there's not a lot of empty noise at the end of it. So basically, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead again and save it. But again, if you didn't like the recording and you wanted to start over, you could click on the X at the top right, and that'll close it out and end that session, and you can reset it and begin over again. So I'm going to go ahead and save that one. So the two recordings that I have right now are showing right here. So it is record and in parentheses onlinevoicerecorder.com. And then the second one that I did, if I hover over it, it'll be the same name, except for at the end of it, it has in parentheses a number 1. And it'll do that for all the recordings that you do afterwards. It'll put a number at the end of it so that you know that it's a different recording. So if I go here towards the bottom and I click on the folder here so I can look at my my downloads folder, I should see the recordings here. So what I want to do now is go back to my Google Drive now that I did the recordings and they have been saved to my computer under downloads folder. I'm going to go ahead and look for the folder that I created, voice recordings, and open it. And then I'm going to go ahead and upload those two recordings. So once you're in the drive folder that you created, if you do create one, it's not necessary for you to create one. You could drop it into the main drive if you wanted to. But just to keep myself organized, I'm going to go ahead and create a folder, voice recordings, and in that folder, I'm going to include those recordings. So I'm going to go File, Upload, and that should open up so that I can go to my computer. Again, I saved it under Downloads folder. So I see them right here. I'm going to go ahead and choose both of them. So to choose both of them, you can click on one and then hold down the Shift key on your keyboard and then click on the second one. Or if you have multiple, click on one and then select the last one. And so once you select those two, I'm going to go ahead and click open and upload them. All right, so they have been uploaded to my Google Drive. So now that both of those recordings are uploaded, again, the first recording that I did for that first slide is this one here. And then the one with the parentheses 1 is the second recording. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my Google Slides. And in here, I want to, in here, I want to include those recordings. So I'm going to go to the slide, the first one that I did the recording for, and I'm going to click on Insert Audio. And again, we saved it to my Google Drive, and it already pulled up recent files that I used or uploaded. So if I hover over it, let's see, yeah. So that's it shows me that that's the second one. So this is the first one that I want to add to this drive or this file. So once I click it and select it, it'll add it to my Google slide. So I'm going to move it, and you can move this around to wherever you want to put it on your slide. I'm going to put it at the top left just so that it's out of the way and it's not in the middle of it. So in here, once you have it where you want to place it, this is just the icon for the recording. I'm going to go ahead and click play just so I can listen to it. All right, so now that I know that that is the correct recording for this slide, so once you select this icon for the speaker or the recording, it'll give you some options here on the right-hand side. So for instance, if you are going to play this slide and you want the recording to begin playing automatically on its own, you can click here on automatically, or you could leave it as on click so that whoever's viewing the presentation, they can click on the recording for it to begin playing, or again, whenever they go to the slide, it'll begin playing on its own automatically. It also allows you to change the volume level, so you could have it playing at a very high level at 100 or in the middle, 50% or lower. So I'm going to leave it at 50. That's fine. And also, it gives you an option if you wanted to loop this audio recording so that it plays over and over. I'm going to go ahead just so we can take a look and see if how that works playing automatically. I'm going to go ahead and click automatically, sound at 50%, and then I want it to stop after the slide changes to the next slide. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide, and I'm going to also do the same thing, insert audio, so that I can insert that second recording that I made. I'm going to click on this just to hover over it and see that that is the correct one, and it is. So I'm going to go ahead and insert it into this slide. I'm going to put this one here on the top right, and again, it'll allow me to choose my settings, what I want this to do. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do automatically. I'm going to go ahead and 50% stop after this slide. All right, so once that is done, I'm going to go ahead and test it just to see how that works. I'm going to go ahead and start the presentation here. Go ahead and present. So this slide pertains to the shoes that you're wearing. So if you look at the shoes that you're wearing, shoes are made of many different types of materials. So just by looking at your shoes, what type of materials would you say that your shoes are made of? All right, so that was perfect on that slide. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next slide, and the next one should also play automatically on its own. All right, so whenever you're done owning a pair of clothing, where do you think, and you throw it away, where do you think it goes? Does it go to a landfill where many pieces of trash go, or where do you think your clothing goes after you are done using them and throw it away? All right, that was basically what we wanted was to be able to narrate within a Google slide. So that was very helpful with doing that. So once you are done with your presentation and you insert all of the recordings that you make, all you want to do now is uh, share this with your teacher. Well, it already automatically, so if you can see here, it already saved the presentation. So I could get out of this and I could go back to my Google Drive. And if I look for this presentation again and go back in it, it should have automatically saved my work. So let me go back to those slides just to be sure that the recordings that I added to slides 4 and 5 are still there. And yes, they are. So that's basically how you can do a narration for Google Slides. Makes it pretty simple to be able to do it this way. Again, the website is online-voice-recorder.com. Just really don't click on anything else. Really don't want to, well, you don't need to do anything else within this website other than just work with this application for the recording for the voice. And again, the recordings get saved to your computer once you complete it and save it, and then just upload them back to your Google Drive, so that you are able to insert them into your slides. So hopefully this was helpful. Thank you.